This is Everything I Knit in 2025. If we haven't met before, and we probably haven't since this is my first proper YouTube video, hi, hello from the rocky shores of Atlantic Canada. I joined knitting YouTube because I figure the best way to be part of a community is to contribute to it. My knitting skills don't quite match my ambitions yet, so here you'll find a lot of imperfect stitches, but made with love. The most well-known pattern I knit this year, the Salty Days sweater by Kutowakita. There are plenty of these segmented textured sweaters, but this one in my opinion is the most unique and most playful. Mine is knit up in Sandnes Garn Pure Gynt in Spiced Apple with Knitting for Olive Soft Silk Mohair in Rust. I absolutely love the knitting experience. I made plenty of mistakes in the process, but the pattern clarity is really good so you don't get too far without noticing. My finished object maybe has a bit more ease than I intended, and my yarn choice is definitely maxing out my itch tolerance. I'm very proud of my finishings on this project, namely the Italian bind-off and this half-twisted rib collar. I do see a second Salty Days in my future just to get a bit of a better fit and get rid of that itch. The Soho top by Kadri. Be prepared for a lot of purling in the round on this one. I knit it in Lion Brand 24/7 cotton in Ecru and Goldenrod. This yarn is too thick for this project. It clings a little too close and in all the wrong places. I added 2 rows of Goldenrod stripe after 10 Ecru rows. The pattern has this really nice slip stitch detail to create faux seams, which I left out because of the stripe, but I did a really poor job on the jogs too. The amount of purling in the round doesn't make me want to knit another one of these, but I certainly would try another Kadri pattern. Another lightweight project was the Amélie Tee by Petite Knit. I did mine in Knitting for Olive Merino in cream and copper. Again, not such a good job on the jogs on my part. There are some tricolor versions of this top that I really prefer the look of, but I used what I had. After I finished, I swore off fingering weight garments, but really this has the nicest next to skin feel. Because it was such a long knit, hello, fingering, I did lose patience and made this a bit too short for my liking. I'm very tall, so most patterns are cropped on me, even if they're not cropped. I also knit the hem really loosely for some reason. Will I fix it? Nah. I was very into texture this year. Case in point, my Gemini Jumper, a pattern by This Bird Knits. I used Sandnes Garn Duo in golden brown and white with Tynn silk and Knitting for Olive mohairs. I was heavily influenced by other knitting YouTubers and bought into mohair this year. But to be honest, I don't get the hype. I really don't care about the halo, and the itch factor is just too high for me. I made a lot of modifications to the stitch pattern for this sweater, just because, but not when it came to the slip stitch rows. So what would normally be a 12-row repeat became a 24-row repeat, which sounds daunting, except many of the rows of my version were just stockinette. This was also a bottom-up pattern, which a lot of people dislike, but I really didn't mind. I just used clothespins to see how it was coming along, and I enjoyed how, with the decreases, it really sped up towards the end. Though I really did mess up on the shoulder decrease shaping. The sleeves are a bit too tight, so I didn't really do the pattern justice, but I kind of dig the weirdness of the look. It's giving 80s and I really don't mind. My favorite garment this year was an impulse cast on while I was waiting for extra yarn to finish my Salty Days sweater. This is the Turtle Dove V-neck, a free pattern by Sonder Yarn Co. My impulsivity paid off here. While I didn't make any pattern modifications, I did not gauge swatch, resulting in a very different fit than the design intends. Shallower armholes, fitted sleeves, but I really like it. My final stitch gauge after blocking is 18 stitches and 27 rows in 4 inches using Cascade 220 worsted in olive heather. Compare that to the pattern, 16 stitches by 21 rows. A lot of folks criticize free patterns for their poor clarity, but I think Sonder nailed it with this one. Oh, I almost forgot. Earlier this year, I made the Oxford Boyfriend cardigan, Sand Stripes, by 2 of Wands for my partner. I knit this before I felt worthy of natural fibers, which is just a personal preference, no shade intended for synthetic yarns. This I knit in Lion Brand Woolies. It's really just a kicking around the house cardigan, but it was a good pattern to learn with, including that I am not good at seaming. Nor do I wish to become good at seaming. Now these are special, the Baccalieu Mittens by Shirley A. Scott. These are a sort of traditional knit for me. I made these trigger mitts and a normal pair of mitts for my parents for Christmas. It was another free pattern for me because I borrowed the pattern book, Saltwater Mittens, from the library. Gotta love libraries. These are wildly imperfect, but they meant a lot to my parents, and I was surprised how fast mittens knit up. I also now have a taste for colorwork, so 2026 will certainly bring my first colorwork sweater. My kiddo got 2 hand-knit plushies this year as well. Susan the Social Crab, a free pattern by Jenna Krupar, and this lion's head pillow. The pattern is by Maria Ermolova, which is for a full plushie, but I used some chunky yarn I had as well, and a full plushie in this size of yarn was out of the question. His mane is such a nice tactile experience. Gathering things to make this video, I made way more than I realized, and it's got me so excited for 2026. If you'd like to be virtual knitting friends, you know where the like and subscribe buttons are. You can also find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Pebble and Pearls. Wishing you a great end of the year and many happy makes in 2026.